So that credentials that are issued through our platform cannot be famous NASA road that we hear of. Then most importantly, I believe many of us in this room are quite busy people. So it's at times tedious for you to have to keep going back to your issuing body or to the society or to your university to keep chasing after that transcript or certificate. So what we as Diwala enable is that you can easily get this certificate, this membership ID, anywhere you are at any time. Someone in Canada doesn't need to come back to the ULS offices to get their membership ID. Then thirdly, most importantly, the verification, as I'll showcase in a bit. When it comes to verification, and I believe being in the legal practice, you are required to verify a lot of information. Usually verification can at times take even 6 months. But with this type of technology, you can verify a document by a click in seconds. Imagine not having to spend so much money, so much time chasing after whether information is valid or not, but in your hand, at the palm of your hand, you can be able to verify information. Next slide, please. Currently, we are present in us have a special file, or even the wallet that you have in your bag right now. That wallet has your national ID, your driver's permit, all this important information. Or that special file that you have somewhere kept in your safe has your certificate, your transcript, and all these things. Now, we try as much as we can to keep this information, our wallet, this file secure as much as we can. But if you think about it, in its physical form, it's actually not secure. Let's go back to the lawyer's story. This lawyer lost their file, their physical file. They had to start from scratch. You can lose your wallet today. Imagine digital identity, and this digital identity can enable you to create a digital wallet. So as long as a certificate, an ID, a transcript has been issued through our platform, you'll be able to easily access it. Similar way you'd access your Gmail account today. You'd simply log in into your Diwala account and you're able to access your information at a go. And the beauty about this information that it is not a copy. It's not a copy that you have to take back to your institution to stamp to prove that it is actually legit or valid. This information is, so this is just an example of actually one of our clients, the Stanbic Business Incubator. And this is a participation certificate. But this certificate can actually be customized to anything. With a ULS, we want to begin with a membership ID. So think of it as your membership ID. We have the capability of replicating the information on the ID. Can be even a permit, even a license, that we have the capability. But most importantly, I want you to look at the bottom of this certificate. It has a unique QR code and link. And this QR code is only and only unique to that information in that certificate. No matter how many times someone prints this certificate or showcases it digitally, it will always have that QR code and link. So when I, for example, present this certificate to a potential employer, all the employer will need to do to verify this information is to simply scan on the QR code that you see at the bottom or click on the certificate link that you see. This certificate can be presented in a hard copy paper. It can also be presented in a digital format. There are many people that claim to be lawyers on LinkedIn. How do we verify that they're actually lawyers on LinkedIn? With this type of certificate, each and everyone that says they're a lawyer can actually tag it to their LinkedIn profile, and they have the capability to showcase who they are. The last slide, please. So that slide just basically shows you when you click on this certificate, where do you go? You are led to a verification page, and you can see there's a button right up there, purple outstanding button that says verify. When you click on that verification button, automatically the information in the certificate is verified. Where this certificate is coming from, who signed it, at what time, and when. Then if an employer also wants to know more information about you, for example, as a lawyer, I'll simply click on the name on the verification, under the verification green ticks that you see, and more information it will be told about me, who I am, what is my legal practice, where I have worked, all that information. So this is the vision that we have for you as the lawyers in Uganda, in the legal fraternity. We want to enable you to get your credentials easily. We could start with the membership credentials, but down the road, think about your permits, think about your transcripts, think about your certificates. You will be able to get.
Thank you, Irene from Diwala. Still talking technology, and this time technology in the procurement space is Mr. Uthman Segawa from PPDA, and he'll be making a presentation on the use of IT systems in procurement. And he's going to share with us what they do at the PPDA. Uthman, thank you.
For having given us this speaking opportunity to introduce to you and to advise you on what is the latest in public procurement in as far as procurement is concerned. On my first slide, for information, PPDA, or Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Authority, is a statutory body created by an Act of Parliament, that is the PPDA Act 2003. And it is comprised, among others, the board, and Uganda Law Society has a seat on the board of PPDA, basically because when we are talking about public procurement, we are talking about regulating how government procures or buys either services, supplies, or works. So on the PPDA board, our general secretary, our secretary is the representative of Uganda Law Society, Ms. Rita Namachika Nangono. The legal framework that governs public procurement in the country, if you are practicing law, you need to know where actually your case is. So we have 11 sets of regulations from governing public procurement and disposal processes in the country. We also have what we call the standard bidding documents. When you're representing a client who has come to you with a procurement case, he will be complaining about a procurement process. The starting point is to look at the bidding document, what was provided for, and what get complaints and suspend providers, among others. Now, under E, this is where the role of lawyers comes into play when we're talking about public procurements. As counsel, we handle disputes. Among the disputes that you'll be handling or that will be coming to our chambers are procurement disputes. 60% of our national budget is spent in procurement. So chances are that you'll get a working client who has a case seeking representation either at the tribunal or before the accounting officer or during arbitration in the case of contract implementation. As counsel also, we are engaged in drafting of legal documentations that are submitted in bids. Talk about powers of attorney, talk about joint venture agreements, contract documents, perusal and approval, among others. Looking at the next slide, how does PPDA interface, how does public procurement interface with ICT? There is a development that is a subject of our theme today. Government has taken a decision to go E. In other words, we are going to be using e-procurements in the procurement of government services, works, and supplies. What does that mean? We are doing away with the paperwork. We are doing away with hard copy documentation. And that's why we have the electronic government procurement system that was launched. Right now, as we talk, we have about 50 entities that have been rolled out. And it is anticipated that in the next 2 years, all the 402 government entities shall be on this system. So what is this EGP system? It is enhancing. What are the advantages of this system? It is enhancing decision making. Currently, those entities that are not on the EGP system have to physically sit to adjudicate a submission from the procurement and disposal unit. But under EGP system, each individual will sit elsewhere separately and make a decision. Evaluation. You don't have to have a physical meeting to evaluate bids. You don't have, as bidders, to carry your bids from appear in the dailies, because the adverts will now be published online, and any person who is registered on the EGP will be able to access such opportunities. We are promoting efficiency and reduction of costs in business. Bids are usually bulk, but if you scan your document, you zip it, and you are able to send it, you reduce the costs of photocopying, the cost of duplication. Right now, those who are on the manual system require at least 2 bids, 3 bids, copies. But under EGP, you'll be only required to submit 1 bid. The last slide, as lawyers. Many of us have chambers, so we all know that legal services are also procurable. In other words, if government wants to retain a certain advocate, they'll need to advertise that procurement process, lawyers bid, and you are able to submit a bid. It means that you cannot participate in a government procurement process unless you are registered under the EGP. I call upon colleagues that we should be able to register our firms, our law firms, online using the electronic government system. I'll not go through how to register the same way you apply for your passport online. The last slide. Finally, what are the key issues to note on the amendments that have taken place as lawyers? The 2021 amendments have brought on into play a 2-tier system of complaining. One, previously we used to complain to the accounting officer, then PPD as a regulator, and finally the PPD Appeals Tribunal. But under the 2021 amendments, as lawyers, we need to know that now if you have a client and you are representing is aggrieved by the decision of an accounting officer, you can represent him at accounting officer or at the tribunal. And all decisions at the tribunal are final in as far as they relate to matters of fact. So you cannot appeal a decision of the tribunal to the High Court. We've had some lawyers coming and their cases dismissed because of language on the amendments. We are also looking at what is pertinent for the lawyers. We need to be on the lookout. The regulations are soon coming out, so there will be a change in the regulations that relate to public procurement. Key aspects that a lawyer, you and I, who is not a specialist in public procurement, need to know about the recent amendments to the PPDA law and how we interface with ICT vis-a-vis the electronic government procurement. I thank you for your audience, and I pray that after this AGM, some of you, or if not all of us, shall visit the PPDA EGP website and be able to register our law firms. The registration process is very clear. You submit your documents online, and you are able to use the payment methodologies available.
May have not, we were joined by the Honorable Attorney General, the Honorable Kiwanuka Chiriowa. You're very welcome. Let's rise and have the national anthems.
Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Uzalendo pia mshikamano viwe msingi wa umoja wetu, na tulinde uhuru na amani, mila zetu na desturi zetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Viwandani na hata mashambani, tufanye kazi sote kwa makini, tujitoe kwa hali na mali, tuijenge jumuiya bora, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Thank you. We may now be seated. So our program continues, and we'll now have remarks, the official remarks by the President of the Uganda Law Society, Her Excellency Fiona Nabasa-Wall.
The Honorable Attorney General, the Honorable Chiyo Tomen. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I also want to recognize our commissioners from Judicial Service Commission. Today is an exciting day for us because Uganda Law Society, as I said before, is in labor. And very soon we're going to have a new baby, a president of the Uganda Law Society. And I'm very excited. And I think that as a pre-AGM, this is the largest turnout we've ever had. It's also an honor. This is the first pre-AGM where I've been, unfortunately, or fortunately, I have been serving on ULS Council for 6 years. This is the first where we've had our Honorable Attorney General among us. Let's give that a big hand clap. The theme for this pre-AGM meeting conference is Technology Transformation in Legal Practice, the Use of E-Systems in Adjudication. I'd like to thank all our guests, moderators, and panelists for sparing time to come here and be a part of this conference to share with us your knowledge and expertise. I want to extend gratitude to the Secretariat who've worked tirelessly to ensure that this is a success, and I hope you'll allow me to recognize the CEO and the Deputy CEO and their team. Lawyers in our time. And as we speak right now, we have about 4,300 members. Can we give that a big hand clap? We all know that traditionally legal practice has been about paper, it has been about verification, like the lady from Diwala was talking about. And those of you who are my age and perhaps older will bear me witness that during the times of law school, if you were to do research on a case, you would have the law library at your disposal. I remember going to look for the case of Karil versus Kabolik smoke ball in the cage and finding that someone had torn out a page in the judgment. I was angry. It was the only book we had to use in the cage. And in my year, we were 400 lawyers. My year mates, please stand up. We're here. Yes. And you have to use a computer. You can use your phone. And I found a judge who was complaining that lawyers now are not preparing. They come to court with their phones ready to do instant research as they argue their authorities. I think that's a bad practice. We need to prepare. A good lawyer prepares. Necessity is the mother of invention, and it has been proved that during COVID-19, when we were denied physical access of each other, physical at times, introducing ECMIS. Let's give that a big hand clap. When I was looking for votes some time back, one of the things I found that was a pain was that there are many law firms that didn't even actually have computers. So when they introduced ECMIS, I did not know what that would look like. It has been a struggle, but I just want to say that I want to thank my counsel, because in thinking about this, we came up with what we thought would be a possible solution. One of the things we are doing is launching what we call resource centers that are going to be business centers which will allow our lawyers, especially upcountry, to be able to use electronic services like large-scale scanning in order to access ECMIS and file your documents. I'm very glad to recognize Owechitiibwa, our Attorney General of Uganda, Counsel Chris Bwanika. Why? The Kingdom of Uganda heard about what we were doing, and they decided to give us 3 offices funded by Buganda Kingdom in Entebbe, Mpigi, and Masaka. And these offices are in districts where we do not have Uganda Law Society offices. It was very intentional. And these offices are going to act as places where Uganda Law Society members can go and access business services to assist with ECMIS at very low prices. The usual things, photocopy, scan, you know. But the most important thing with this is that with our growing, bursting population of advocates, we need the lawyers to leave Kampala. 90% of them are in Kampala. What that means is that our services, which are right now 1 lawyer to 20,000 Ugandans, are not will volunteer in these places. We launched these centers about 5-6 months ago. As I speak, we've had lawyers in Entebbe, Masaka taking turns to volunteer there and give free legal advisory services to people that need legal aid, to people that need even simple business advice, because the business communities also have serious human rights, business rights issues. As these people are giving advice, we are telling them, if you volunteer on a Thursday and a client comes and gets advice and is told you might not access your rights unless you actually have registered your company. If they ask to register a company, then you give them your business card, right? That's free business. We're trying to create a place where we train the community on the need for legal services. We're trying to create a center where we're going to action, and now we're using QR codes that are unique to only you. You heard that this will be attached to your IDs. I want to say this will be at no extra cost. You don't believe that? It's unbelievable, because they are giving, you have your ID, if you have your QR code saved on your phone and someone can check it with a QR, even CLEs, it will be very easy. You will not need to come and sign anymore if your QR code is available online. You'll be able to access online and get instant certificates. I think some of you, who got a certificate from the annual law conference? Anybody? Okay, you people are not cooperating, because I see people whose certificates I signed. Yes, so we are trying to drive that way. COVID-19 also increased our our need to reinvent ourselves in our law firms, to examine our business practices and use technology wisely. That is why I want to thank the Professional Development Committee of the Uganda Law Society. They came up with the Law Firm Management Practice Series, which is also enabling. The biggest cry of our members is that there needs to be a manual system that comes on if there is any downtime. I think that needs to happen. But we also want to be empowered to actually, we are appealing to you. Chinua Achebe in his writing talks of a bird called the eneke. And he said that when man learns to shoot without missing, the eneke learned to fly without perching. Yes? So can we learn to embrace the fourth industrial revolution? We've seen what's happening. I'll say in National Water and Sewerage Corporation, we had a problem with our data recently. There are many organizations that are being hacked. So cybersecurity is a real thing. We have had our honorable at those things which you either embrace and get to know, or it's going to burn you in your house. It's like using gas to cook your food. If you don't know how to operate it, but you leave it lying around with, anytime you light a match, it will blow up. So this technology that we've embraced, we need to understand. We need to move with. So Uganda Law Society, it is my appeal as we go into this session to request you to embrace technology. Our Honorable Attorney General, we have an annual technology conference that we do in partnership with KTA. But another thing that's very exciting right now is that we are going to start having, I think the East African Law Society Institute has, please give him a big hand clap.
Thank you very much. Members of the judiciary present, members of the Judicial Service Commission present, the President, East African Law Society, the President, Uganda Law Society, members of the Executive Committee of Uganda Law Society, members of other law societies present, the Registrar, East African Court of Justice, Senior Counsel present. I've seen Professor Sempewa, John Mary Mugisha, Mr. Katende, Ruth Sebasindira, and of course, our President, Uganda Law Society, Fiona. Our panelists this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, in your various capacities, good afternoon. First of all, I must apologize for coming late, but it's a classic, I have a classic excuse. It received the invitation, the program had remarks. So I said, why is it that normally they ask me to come and make a presentation? Other times they to a speech, asked me to make remarks. I was really intrigued, so I went to check what do they exactly expect of me. And they said that I need to give, to say something or a comment. And I just realized that I think the Uganda Law Society found itself in a bind. I'm the chairman, I'm the Attorney General, head of the bar. They can't realize how to get me off the program, so they said, let him make remarks. So I think that's why they asked me to make remarks, so that we get through that part quickly. But allow me to take this opportunity to commend the Uganda Law Society for the theme that they have chosen this year. And it says, technology, transformation in legal practice, the use of e-systems in adjudication. ITGOSC is mainstreaming this remote court attendance. It is now a reality for us in practice that this is what has happened. COVID-19 opened our eyes. It changed our view of things and opened out to our realities. As many of you will recall, a few urgent and important cases were handled through the e-system, through technology during the COVID-19 lockdown. As a country, we have continued to pass laws in this technology space, and like the President of Law Society was saying, the laws are going to keep changing. Technology has now become a new space of terrorism, a new space of money laundering, and we are going to continuously have to amend the laws to meet these new challenges. As a legal profession, we have had an underlying duty to our clients, the courts and the profession, to take a pivotal role in ensuring that we are the means to an end. And since we are the means to an end, we must make technology a part of our process, because that's the way of the future. I can attest personally from my personal experience that our international arbitrations, now we are doing them online. In the ESCJ, we are having attendances in line. It's cheaper, it's quicker, it saves money. It will have its challenges. Why am I using this technology? Why do I need it? But if COVID told us anything, the why was answered. And therefore it is up to you now to determine. So the theme that we are having this afternoon is actually very, very interesting. And when I was looking at the panelists, I found very, very interesting. Thank God for me, when this theme came to me, I started thinking, and Law Council sits squarely in my space. So I'm going to tell them that it's about time that we moved on. Why must someone come from Gulu to deliver a document here? It's not necessary anymore, but we need to embrace that. As the famous to change, therefore it is those that are prepared to quickly embrace, capitalize on, and exploit the new way of doing things that will prosper. Let the fourth revolution, let the fourth industrial revolution not leave any one of us behind. I wish you fruitful day, great insights in these, from these eminent panelists this afternoon. I thank you all for God and my country.
Let's welcome Mr. Paul Mushebi.
Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Paul Muchiwi, Head Department of Law Reporting, Research and Law Reform at LDC, and also a practitioner. Allow me to invite the panelists we are going to handle our session with. We have His Worship, Jameson Karimani. You can take your seat. We have Miss Naisosin Karunji. I don't know that she's around. She's around? Okay. She'll be joining us online, I'm informed. We have Mrs. Julian Reggio. Miss Karunji is already online. Advocate Remy Munyaneza is also online. We have Mr. Aman is online. So we shall be handling our session. But before the session, allow me to make my presentation, which will be very brief, concerning the theme in legal practice, the use of e-systems in adjudication. My topic of concentration is below: the digitization of court processes in Uganda, prospects and challenges of ECMIS to the Ugandan bar. I'm part of the bar, and I know what the bar has experienced since the inception of ECMIS. And I know some of you have already threatened to take action against the Attorney General and the judiciary begin by introducing the digitization of court processes globally. By the way, this is not a Ugandan judiciary issue. It's a global issue, and we shall appreciate that. I'll also highlight the background of ECMIS globally and how it has been taken regionally, sub-regionally, and at the national levels. Then I'll also underscore its prospects and concentrate much on the challenges and the way forward. And the key aspects of the presentation concern ECMIS. In some jurisdiction, it is ECMIS with single C. In ours, it's with double C. The difference ours is globally technology has taken over. We are now in the system of e-governance, e-justice, everything we are having e. We are moving electronic. And the COVID-19 era has really given us a good lesson about this. And it is not something really we can debate about, whether we can move forward with ECMIS or not. But we shall have some underlying issues. Now, I have done quite a number of research concerning the background of digitization of court processes from different jurisdictions, and I would want to concentrate so much on ECMIS as understood in different countries. In Australia, it is ECMIS with a single C, and it started as early as 1980s. I was not yet born. They had ECMIS. Here we are crying that ECMIS is a problem. But in some jurisdictions, it has been as old as 1980. And in Australia, it has been used in these different ways. One, it is used in litigation support, notwithstanding having been there a decade ago. And this explains some challenges we shall see, which are